It's 6:27. I'm going to call the meeting to order because I think we're pretty much ready to go. The first item on the agenda is to approve two sets of minutes. The first set was from the August 11th meeting. And so for those of you, because it's been a while, that was the meeting that we had where MHG or MGH Solar came in and presented their overview of the solar project. So can I get a motion to approve the August 11th minutes?
I'll second it.
We got to make a motion first and then you can talk about your changes, updates. Okay, so who's going to make the
I'll
motion?
move and
Okay.
seconded it.
Okay, so Kathy moved, Carl seconded it. Any updates to the August 11th minutes?
Yes, I would like to bring up two small points that were important to me because I don't think they reflect my intent or what I said quite accurately.
Okay.
Starting where line 50 is.
50, hang on. Okay, line 50, yep.
Yeah, these are a matter of record and people.
Yeah, absolutely. That's why we're,
I
that's why
never
we go
said
through it.
that area had logs and trees and shed. I had said that we have seen that. I don't know if that specific lot has
Okay.
had that.
Right,
And I would have never said that because I don't know that, but I know that right behind the Legion where the ball field was, which is nearby. So that was my concern. I wasn't being specific about that property.
okay, so we want to change that area to be a little more,
That we've just
General.
seen that happen. In
okay,
town.
seen that happen in town.
And line 163, 164, it says we were talking about at that point, the road and visual issues with
So, yep,
masking. It says here, Scott McDonald didn't think the area to screen was that big. That comes off as sort of an opinion that comes off like a judgment, and that's not what I said. What I said was that, and I don't have it in my head exactly, but I remember saying that the area that followed along the road looked to be about only 1,000 feet or so. I was very specific.
yep,
And I was saying that because I wanted to point out the size of it and that it isn't a tremendous area of space to have to cover if people have issues. It wasn't like, oh, it's not that big. That almost sounds like I don't have a problem with anything and I wouldn't want to give that impression.
oh, you're thinking big is big deal?
It could be,
Okay, but let's just,
No, but it's not that big. In other words, it's not that big of a plot.
Okay,
It's not a problem.
so-
And I don't want it to read like that.
right, so how would you like to have that
Well,
rewritten?
I actually used the measurement that from the, when I was looking at the map, that it only appeared to be about 1,000 or so feet
Okay,
of roadway. And that was really more my point.
okay, so we can amend line one
If you don't
sixty-five.
mind, it's just,
No, no,
people
it's
reading
fine.
this,
Yeah.
it's important to be accurate.
So Sue, do you have that on 165? We'll amend that line that says was that big to was about 1,000 feet.
Yes,
Okay,
Thank you very much.
you're welcome.
no, absolutely, yeah.
When it's about something nobody cares about, it's fine.
Any other updates to the August 11th meeting minutes? I'm all set. Kathy, you good?
I'm good.
Jeff?
I wasn't there.
Oh. Okay. All in favor of approving the minutes as amended? Aye.
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 All opposed? Okay. The next set of minutes we have to approve are the August 18th minutes.
I move to approve the minutes from August 18th.
Okay. Moved by Kathy,
I'll second it.
seconded by Jeff. Any updates or changes to the August 18th minutes?
Yeah, I wasn't there. I was in England.
Oh.
11:30 at night.
Oh, okay.
I couldn't stay awake.
Okay, so yeah, that's, oh, so
You take my name off I wasn't present.
you're listed as under absent.
Oh, okay. I'm looking at the list of names. Great, you're right.
Yeah. So we just had Jeff, Scott, myself.
Okay. quorum.
And then we had Preston. Sue. Okay, any changes or updates to the August 18th minutes?
I'm good.
All in favor of approving the minutes as written?
Aye.
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 All opposed? Okay. The next item on the agenda is citizens' comments. Does anybody in the room have something they'd like to talk about that is not on tonight's agenda? Hearing none, we'll move on to the next item on the agenda, which is just a status update on the pending NDA application. So as you all remember, on the meeting on the 18th, we sort of packaged up the bylaw updates to go to the select board, which was going to be the basis of this neighborhood development area application we were putting in. So I guess I'll just provide the update that says the select board adopted those bylaw updates and they went to effect on September 9th. And the NDA application has been submitted and the state agency, which is the Community Investment Board, is scheduled to review that application and make a decision in their meeting in October. So we should hear more on that in October. So stay tuned for further updates on how that progresses. Does anybody have any questions about that update before we move on? Okay. The next thing on the agenda is to review the draft LED or EMD sign language proposal. So I think in your packet, you should have a document. It's got the beginning of some language we can talk about. And I'm going to ask Preston to kind of say a little bit about it because he drafted it and then we can go from there.
Okay.
If anybody needs a copy, I have a couple of copies. Send out. Whoops.
I will say first of all that Carl Henshaw had a significant hand in drafting it as well.
Oh,
And
thank you, Carl. Sorry about that.
Oh, no worries.
I will let Carl speak after I give some introductions. You know, this has been an idea that's been kind of out there for a long time. And Randy Miles is here with us and he visits regularly and says, when's it going to be on the agenda? And we were pretty eager that we wanted to get our bylaw changes for the NDA through without any confusion or any controversy. So finally, now that that part is done, we can take a look at this. This language or something like it would actually have to be a bylaws amendment. It would actually go into the zoning bylaw, which means we'd have to have a public hearing at the town level. And then the select board would have to have a public hearing at the select board level, and then it would be voted by them. The kind of the thinking here is that a lot of towns have adopted the approach that LED or EMD signs can be used for schools and municipal buildings and not for general businesses. And we did, I guess I'll just say, Hugh, you did confirm with the Green Mountain Union High School principal that this is
I
something
did.
they would like.
I reached out to him and spoke with him and he's in support of having that capability at the school.
So at the start, at the top, it says that these would be for municipal and school properties in the village mixed use district. That allows an LED sign on both the fire station, basically emergency services building, and Green Mountain High School. Because the town hall and the town garage and the elementary school are not in the village mixed use district, it wouldn't apply to them. So we think that those are probably the only two buildings that this would apply to. The thought was to create something that was, I mean, I'll be very candid. I've seen various LED signs around the state for schools and public buildings, and some of them I've liked and some of them I haven't. So, and in fact, people brought up the last time we discussed this, that the sign at the, was it Riverside in Springfield?
Yeah,
You know, some
middle
people
school.
said, I want a sign like that. So, we tried pretty hard, Carl and I, to write something that was fairly exhaustive, that would really sort of explain what it is we do want and what it is we don't want. A lot of it goes fairly deep into, you know, distracting appearance of motion, characters of sufficient size, only alphabetic and numerical characters, not graphic, pictorial, or video images. You know, only 2 colors. We wanted to be able to adjust for the ambient light so that if it's a cloudy day, it'll be a little brighter, or I guess less bright, and a sunny day it'd be brighter. That it would automatically shut off between the hours of 11 p.m. and 6 a.m. That, you know, that via default mechanisms, the sign would actually close if it was having a problem, which these are all things that the manufacturers can do. I will say that in reviewing it this afternoon, Hugh went online and looked at good old AI, say, you know, give me a draft sign, you know, thing for AI. And one of the things it came up with is that, you know, we had said 2 minutes for a modified sign. If you think about driving down the interstate highway and they'll have these big signs and you're driving at like 65 miles an hour and it'll say, you know, click it and then flash or ticket. So that's like 8 seconds when they do that. So that's something that we probably should go back to the drafting table on it and think about, because we want it to be usable. And then the other thing is it says 3 lines of characters. And I think Randy himself said, wouldn't it be really easier if you had 4 lines of characters? So, you know, those are the kinds of things that, if we even go forward with it, with a sign like this, that we can certainly revise for a subsequent.
You're also,
edition.
you're giving the DRB opportunities here too.
Well, and that's the other thing is that, and this is actually to give Carl credit. I mean, he came in with the whole, you know, giving the DRB a scale, materials, architectural character, and surrounding properties review. So if they have, I think it gives them the tools that they need. I think the last thing I'll say is that I was just thinking this would default to the normal sign standard for that district, 24 square feet. Well, 24 square feet, it sounds kind of big, but it, you know, 4 by 6, not all that big.
That's right.
We do have a provision in the bylaw for a sign plaza, which we have a few places in town that have that, which is 48 square feet. So that's another thing that in hindsight, we just think that 24 square feet probably just isn't big enough.
You know, you might want to think about just having a maximum length so that it doesn't become 10 or 12 feet long for some silly reason. Is that, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Not to exceed 8 feet or something like that.
I wouldn't be opposed to that. I mean, I think we are all guessing.
That's where it would wind up anyway.
We're
but
thinking it would be a sign that's taller than it is wider, but you're saying you just never know.
I think it would be wider than it is tall.
Yeah,
Yeah,
my vision is it's some kind of rectangle.
6 by 4, 4 tall,
Yeah.
6 long, something like that, because you're gonna have
Yeah.
longer sentences
yeah.
horizontally.
Yeah,
And I would be a little concerned about giving the DRB too much latitude to be changing things about motion and blinking and colors and things like that. I mean, they're really, it's more about
Okay,
the the character and the look and the size of it, and is it gonna fit in with the neighborhood, that kind of thing. But if you give them latitude to change the things we're concerned about,
Yeah.
we could wind up with well-intending people saying yes to things that we didn't
Mhm.
want. That's all.
So Carl, anything you want to add at this point?
No, I mean, I think we're covering all of it. As far as the exterior, what it looks like, I thought that was outlined pretty well underneath the compatibility review in terms of what was in scope. Whenever I first heard about the EMDs, I immediately was like, my whole frame of mind was immediate yes, why would we not? And then I started researching them and realizing, oh, there's you know there's risk involved in how do you de-risk it for the town, but still allow flexibility to convey the information that people will need on that. So, I mean, I think that's why we have kind of more, prescriptive and restrictive language up at the top. And again, it's committee, right? If we want to loosen it up, that's fine. I just think it's better to start off with something a little bit more vanilla and and restrictive than going Vegas style and over the top.
I think that if I may, I would.
Yeah.
Since you're talking
Yeah.
about the top, Carl,
Yeah.
and you did a great job, by the way. These are all, you pretty much nailed everything I could have thought of, and, but my two questions, would be primarily for Preston and Hugh,
Mhm.
since this is gonna be a modification to the bylaws. Um, is it for areas outside of village mixed use?
No,
Is it going to be conditional or not permitted?
it's a conditional use in village mixed use only if you're a
Okay. So
municipality
the other-
or a school.
So
It would-
it's a prohibited elsewhere.
Yeah.
That's what I wanted to know.
Yep.
I mean,
Mhm.
well, it does, I did put the word only in,
But in bylaws,
we could even,
we have permitted, conditional, and
Yeah,
not permitted. And
right.
I'm asking for that
Right.
kind of clarity with this modification.
Yeah, we don't really itemize not permitted. It's by default, if it's not under permitted or conditional, it's not permitted, but we don't list all the not permitted.
but I guess,
We
Yeah,
do
I
have,
mean,
we
we-
do have
we-
lists of uses that are not permitted in the bylaw.
No, we don't.
We don't?
No,
well, there's a generic list of them.
Yeah, there is. I've seen it. Yeah.
Yeah,
well,
in the bylaw, but anyway.
yeah. I don't remember those, I guess.
The, I guess, Scott, when and if this gets ready for prime time, it would probably mean that the village mixed use district would, under conditional uses, include one of the assigned fields for it.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm just saying
Any
it would,
other- what other-
it would cut down on applications and
But,
other things.
we could also put some words in here that say, for village mixed use district and not any other district or something like that, and then,
Well, I was just asking because I wanted to know.
just as bulletproof as it could be.
Yeah, because we have in the bylaws, we have
Yeah.
conditional uses and permitted uses. And,
Yes,
so
but I am envisioning.
it makes
that-
your job easier. if
I am
people don't,
envisioning
you
that
know.
in the village mixed use district, it would be added under the condition.
Okay, and the only other thing I would think of about is emergency services. Having at some point a portable sign like this that they need to put out for public notice at various things if there's emergencies and such, and this reads that they can't do that to me. And I don't think we should tie the hands of law enforcement or fire department in case of emergencies.
Yeah, I hadn't really thought about that, and I wonder how that's handled today. Because I mean, you see the speed limit signs that are kicking around. So is there another kind of sign that public safety might want to deploy somewhere? That would be
Well, there's already some deployed. If you look by the post office, there's a big LED trailer sign.
Right.
yeah, so how are those handled in our,
Signs that are for traffic control and highway signage are.
Well, this one is for
the, the town fair, the fall festival, giving dates and stuff, you know, it's,
Yeah.
I'm playing the devil's
Well,
advocate here.
That's right.
No, you, I actually, to be honest, I hadn't noticed it, but I will say that the Chester Festival has been going on for so long, that
Right.
they don't get a permit for anything. And, I have chosen to deal with that, and of course now it's Hugh's job to decide whether to deal with it. Okay.
Perhaps it can be something as simple as emergency services
Yeah.
have the right to use a portable trailer-based sign or, as they so deem in emergency
Yeah.
situations or something. I just think it's probably smart to have that in there.
Yeah,
Because in an emergency, you don't want those people wondering,
if they're doing the right thing or not.
not that they would think twice, because
Yeah.
it's their job to take
Public
care of
safety
people,
matter,
but
yeah.
I think it should be clear.
So the one that you're talking about probably looks like a highway sign, and it probably has like yellow lettering.
Yeah.
But they are using it for that purpose. Yeah,
This is
okay.
actually two, because there's one up by the dental office too,
All right.
Hey, where's, what, they're going up where?
on 11 West by the
Oh.
dental office.
Okay.
I mean, the interesting thing, you and I have had reason to talk about this, is that there's an exemption for special event signs. And that,
Ah,
other
yeah.
than the fact that they can't be larger than 24 square feet, as long as they're used for 30 days or less.
I was gonna say that, is there a time
But-
frame on that?
There is a time frame that they can't be lit.
Yeah, but that probably wasn't envisioning that it
No.
would be an LED sign. I
Right.
mean, in fact, I would say I'm quite sure it wasn't.
Yeah,
They were thinking of a ban. They're
Yeah.
called ban.
they were thinking of a banner.
Also, the future is the fire department, police department, every so often at town meeting, they're asking for extra money for new things. They could wind, and those are very important things during floods, blackouts, possible tornadoes, whatever, just being able to say, hey, we've got this, let's roll it out wherever we need to, as long as it's not in the way. And
Yeah, I think it would be good to have some thought put into how we would address that scenario, because I think to Scott's point, it's real and it's
Mhm.
actually something that we want to make sure that we don't block that by doing this. If, especially,
that was
Mhm.
my intent.
yeah, and that's a good call out.
And then the next question is, do we even want to clarify the Chester Festival sign use?
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, if there's some kind of language that's crafted that addresses portable signage for certain scenarios, I guess it would be nice if it folded in the Chester Festival, if it made sense, unless we're gonna draw a line that says this should really be about
Yeah.
public safety and traffic control, then that would mean the festival would have to be thinking about
Well, could it?
something
could it
else.
be isolated to town-sponsored events.
Yeah. There's a very unspecific exemption that signs erected by the town don't have to meet these regulations, and that would kind of mean that
Yeah.
even one of the fire department have to meet regulations, but I don't think that's what was meant.
Yeah.
So,
Even, one thought I was having. With all of we've had a couple incidents with people doing burns when they shouldn't have. Even having a burn sign here and there isn't a bad idea. The more and more people who move here who don't understand things, it's not bad to have.
well, of course, what happens when you open the doors and you end up,
Oh,
the bylaws go another 20 pages longer, but it's good that we're having the discussion.
When you drive by the Scotty Fire Department, they've got that sign right there. You can flip it over and turn it to whatever you want as
Yeah.
far as the burn thing and,
I had a couple of
Yeah.
questions.
Yeah,
Sure.
On the second, in the first under D two, it says, all characters will be illuminated. You have to say tall, if that's what. it is.
Yeah, to specify, yeah.
Yep,
Yeah.
that's fine.
And the other thing that I'm not sure I understand what can envision is the idea of electronic message display needs to comprise no more than 50% of the maximum total allowable sign. And that's on the first page and the version. Is that? It just seems like it would be. Should be more, it should be a bit that on the sign.
Right, most of the ones, even those signs you're using on the mobile ones, they're almost like your flat screen TV and it goes right to the edge and everything.
Yeah.
And if we allow it to go out that far, then it's gonna make we can make the area of the sign small, so we don't have 10-foot signs just to get the whole message in.
That also could be addressing the, like, they have like backgrounds that are lit up around them sometimes.
Yeah, does anybody know where the 50% rule came from? Does it?
Excuse me, Kathy, can you pull the microphone just a little closer?
All right, yeah,
Oh,
I'm-
that's much better. Thank
Here.
you.
I think it's simply that I had pulled some other samples and
yeah,
that
okay,
made it in there.
All right.
And so it's not like,
I was thinking,
I'll be, speaking to Jeff's comment, I'll be curious, probably I would like to go out and measure that sign, just because
Mhm.
it's kind of 24 minutes at less. What's interesting whenever you're trying to write bylaws like this is technology keeps changing. And I think that a lot of signs, I'll just say for Woodstock Union High School, they got a sign that says Woodstock Union High School, and then there's a screen under it. And so it's actually is probably less than the whole sign. But then when you go down to Riverside, I believe that
The whole thing.
the whole
It's
thing is a
lit up
sign.
like a carnival.
The thing that says,
Yeah.
Riverside Middle School is actually part of the sign.
And it's hard to read
Yeah.
because of it. It's not clear.
Right.
Whereas
Right.
if this thing was a black or a green background with only letters on it, it would be easy
Yeah.
to read. And I think if you say something like 6 to 10 inches tall
Yeah,
and 4 lines,
Yeah.
you're not gonna go past it. I think that
Yeah.
would fill in that.
Mhm.
It wouldn't
might.
exceed the background. It wouldn't
Right.
be like a
Ye-
reading a novel.
Well, yeah, and not only that, I guess one of the things that I'm thinking about is just that in sign regulations where you don't have a restriction that says it needs to be letters, part of the 50% lit thing is just so it's not too, I mean, could you imagine pixels on a big thing, all of them lit? So they don't want that.
That's
Right.
what they have at Rivers.
But we're kind of saying if it's not lit with graphics or, animation, and it's just lettering, and we're controlling the number of lines and the size of the lettering, then maybe we can relax on the percentage of coverage, but I don't know, I'm just wondering.
I'm just saying that if we can utilize more of the sign face, then it will actually reduce the size of the sign.
Yeah, the size of the
Right.
structure.
Cause I can tell you, I went to BJ's last weekend. They had a 64-inch TV there and I walked up to it and that thing was only about a 1/4 inch thick,
Yeah,
the whole thing. So the technology is getting crazy.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's really no need of a border. And it would cut down the size of it, so.
I think if you have 4 lines of letters that size, that it would be easy to read, nobody
Yeah.
would, and the 60, the 2-minute thing. I would guess, like, I'm driving past it, that it's somewhere between 20 and 30 seconds. And
that's what I said.
And so you might want to have a rotation every 20 seconds. or
Yeah.
something,
Yeah.
So that they can see the whole message. Or, oh, I'm gonna slow down. I want to see what time it is. And you get a rear end collision.
But you're slow down because you want to see the
That's how
next,
people
you want to
think.
see the next thing and it's going too slow.
That's right.
Hey, Carl, let me ask you a question. Do you think you could do a little bit of research on what would have been sort of the rationale behind the percentage coverage, you know, like why would it only be, like, I found some other examples that said some people restrict the coverage to somewhere between 25 and 50% of the total sign area, which, you know, it doesn't sound intuitive to me, and I don't really understand the rationale. So I was wondering if you could maybe dig into that a little bit and see if we can make sure if we do, you know, relax that requirement, that we're not stepping in some kind of a pothole we don't know about.
Yeah, I'll hop on it. I'm Googling that right now.
Okay. Great.
I can answer that for you.
Okay.
Being that I used to be a graphic designer and work in TV and stuff. When you have letters that go, they're afraid of filling it up, first of all, because it
Okay.
makes it more complicated to read and you take their eyes off the road.
Okay.
Your eyes go to the brightest objects in a field. So if you have a dark field surrounded by 4 lines of yellow or whatever
Yeah.
text is, and you have all around it, the eye sees those letters much more easily without the brain being distracted. And they read it more clearly and more quickly if there's room around it. And then you don't get as many.
Right. So that sounds like a good thing, but we're talking about relaxing that requirement. So
That's
just,
why I'm saying that you may not want to.
yeah, okay. So we'll do a little more research on that one. Thanks.
I think I did see Steve had a
This
hand
is-
up, and now it isn't, but I don't know.
I was gonna just second that, Scott was right. The federal aid highway program actually talks about it becomes more of a distraction, the more real estate you allowed to have filled up on a sign.
So,
That's why they restrict it down, so your eyes are just seeing, you know, it's easier to read, it's faster to read, you're not having to pause, you focus on it quick and you can go back to
Yeah.
driving.
okay.
That's the safety part of it. And then there's other rationale about glare and light spill control, content balance, and then like the aesthetics. But I would say the safety piece of it's probably the one that we would focus in on, because that's the one that we would be opening ourselves up to some liability, I think.
Okay, so that being said, and to kind of address maybe one of Jeff's concerns, we are considering putting, regardless of what percentage we allow them to light up, we are considering a maximum sort of size of the
Mhm.
rectangle.
Mhm.
So that would, you know, that would prevent somebody from creating a massive sign just so they can get their message out because we had the 50% coverage rule.
Well, I think it should be somewhere in a line with a regular sign
Yeah, yep.
ordinance.
And so we have some sign regulations that say if you have a plaza sign, you know, like, and we have a few, it can be, you know, a bigger rectangle than just a regular general business sign. And so I think the only thing that I heard Scott mention was rather than just put a square footage as the requirement, maybe we bind it a little more. Maybe you get the same amount of real estate, but effectively don't let them create like a really long skinny one. Make them have the rectangle have some proportions. Nobody would do that anyway necessarily, but so I think we recognize that we
There's
want to.
always that one person.
We're gonna stick it to the DRB and we're gonna have a
Yeah.
1 foot by 24 foot sign.
Yeah, there you go. Then you'd have to hope that the DRB snagged it under compatibility review. Okay,
Yeah, plenty of things to chew on. I guess I'm concerned, Steve Mancuso, did you want to say something or?
May I?
Yeah,
Well, you guys are bringing up some very good points. First of all, I would write it in and distinguish that there's a difference between some sort of emergency and doing business in Chester. You know, for instance, as Scott brought up, you know, for example, Chester is getting sucked into a volcano, you know, that might be a little different than we're having a fall festival.
yes,
You know, and the only other thing is, I would say is lead by example. The town already has a number of the same signs. If they can meet your doctrine, and you're doing business for the town of Chester. Okay, we're having a festival here, a festival there. We're doing this, that, the other thing. You know, show business community that this is what you need to subscribe to. We're doing it and you need to also. Thank you.
Thanks, Steve.
And now, Randy, you're sitting quietly. Any comments or?
Come on up. If you have something to say,
Yeah,
come
yeah,
up to the mic. Say your name and
Randy Miles. Yeah, I've listened to everything you've had to say. A lot of it is really good. The intention is the same as what I think the school is looking forward to. We're a small community. We don't want all bright lights like Vegas and stuff, but this is the modern age. And more and more of these signs are out everywhere. Can we do better than other towns and other places? I think we can. And I think this is crucially important for Green Mountain Union High School. They have really nothing to show exactly where they're located up there. You drive by and happen to look up and
Yeah.
see it, or you happen to see the sign. So bringing them up to times would be good and really beneficial for the whole school and the community, I think. It's out past the center of town, so I don't think it's gonna interrupt too many people for what light it is. These signs are built by size. There's many standard sizes. You could go off of that and pick a standard size that fits that. The 4 lines is important for the information because that's the primary target. Is information. My only other concern is with hearing this, would it be allowed to put like a wooden or some kind of thing over the top of it to blend it in, just stating, you know, painted or whatever, Green Mountain Union High School?
I think that's kind of the idea. It needs to be in a frame.
That's
Yeah.
kind of I mean, we've had that discussion that these highway signs are not in a frame, but I mean, I think that we are anticipating that it would be in a
So
frame.
it looks a little nice.
Yeah.
And I'll even say that the granite sign the school has now is a very nice sign, but you can't read it very well. You
Yeah,
can't really,
unless you stop.
you know, so,
I remember reading something about it having to be enclosed in some sort
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
board or somewhere.
right. So again, we'll have to think about that, but I think we're envisioning that there would be something that says Green Mountain Union High School. And then under it would be the screen that could have
Yeah.
text. I mean, that's what we would envision.
Yep, and that's what we were envisioning too. So I
Yeah.
think we're all on the same page with that.
Yeah, because you don't want to use your sign space to say Green Mountain
No.
Union High School, because that's never going to change.
It's
and That's
right
a
here.
waste.
Number 2 under architectural integration.
Yeah.
It's right there. Talks about.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, a backwards way to go at this, since we're talking about hopefully only 2 signs, would be for you to kind of come up with what you want for a sign and then write a bylaw around it. I don't know.
Yeah, kind of reverse engineer it.
Yeah,
I can go ahead and do that, but it's a lot of research. It's pretty easy on the computer now.
yeah.
I've got the kind of the coordinates of what you're hoping to achieve with size of the
Yeah.
lettering and stuff like that, so that'll be.
That might help, just, not that we're trying to craft language specifically for the high school, but at the same time, we're trying to craft language and I think we have some consensus around our general intent. And so we just want to make sure that we don't write language that, paints you into a box that you can't operate within. Because then what's the point? You kind of miss the mark.
Yep, yep.
So,
Okay.
Right here is 6x4. This half of the table.
Like I said, I'll be very curious to look at what the,
Pretty good
like the
sign.
standard,
what the sign is, the
Yeah.
sign on the trailer, what size
Yeah.
that is. Yeah.
I pasted in the chat, the publication on safety that includes references to speed and how much real estate should be used on the sign. So at your rating pleasure, if you get a chance to take a look.
okay,
Yeah, thank you, Carl.
If you saw 4 lines of text going a foot in, 6 inches in, 6 inches from the top across this whole half of this table, you'd be able to see that 200, 300 feet away.
okay, so I think we definitely have some takeaways for some additional tweaks.
Yep.
And, Randy, if you want to provide additional input from your point of view about what would be helpful to what the high school's trying to achieve. That can give us something to cross-check. Anybody else have any other discussion points on this?
So I'm a little curious about whether the high school thinks they're going to have multiple notices to display on the sign on a frequent basis. Because if we keep the 2-minute rotation, then
I want to see the 2 minutes reduced personally. That's my opinion. So,
um,
Well, I think another reason they had the time limit is so that it wouldn't just be, scrolling a teleprompter where you're driving and you're staring at the sign,
yeah, I mean, I want it to be frozen for a certain amount of time. I
Mhm.
feel personally like 2 minutes is too long, but that's
Yeah.
just my,
First clause on here says there's no scrolling or motion. or blinking.
right.
so
Yeah,
I
mean,
think we're
the
gonna
kind of
have to.
Scroll, you've seen this where the lines,
Right.
Yeah.
where the words are scrolling, that's what we want to avoid.
Right.
Right.
Somewhere
But-
between 15 and seconds per
But
screen.
I think
15
what
and
Kathy
20
is saying is you could have a musical and a sports team and a school board meeting all at the same night.
Right.
And
Mhm.
how do you get those all on a sign?
And if you have to wait 2 minutes to see the next one,
You're only gonna get.
You're gonna get half of one,
Drive
yeah.
by the thing another time.
you're
to
gonna
get-
find out there's,
15 to 20 seconds before the
Yeah,
change
yeah.
of text is probably fine for people driving by, something like that.
Maybe we're gonna have to just play this by ear. Try out different
Mhm.
things. I mean,
We,
we don't have to. It's not easy to change the bylaws, but it's not impossible.
we have to have some minimum. We can't go with nothing because then we will get somebody that does, puts up a message every 2 seconds or something, but, and I think the speed limit there is probably, is it still 40 or is it 30 by then? It's 30. So if you're not speeding, you're not really going that fast. So, it's a little harder to get.
10 seconds is actually still pretty long if you're driving.
Yeah.
You could miss the second message.
Yeah.
And there's also you're gonna be driving past more often,
Right,
you
yeah.
gotta see the other things, so,
Yeah.
count to 10 in your head, that's a long time
It's a
for
long
2
time.
lines
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
4 lines.
So we could say at least a minimum of,
Yeah,
and give it a low minimum, and then.
A minimum of 10 seconds, then if they want it to be longer, it's not hurting.
We could check with that sign that's down there for the
Yeah,
fall
see how
festival.
fast it
I mean,
lifts.
that's obviously a rented sign. The
Yeah.
sign company probably knows
Yeah,
what is best. They just put in a few words. So,
yeah,
I mean, we can
yeah. that's a
sit
good
there for a
idea.
minute and just
See
count
what
how
it
many,
does, Yeah.
so.
I'm sort of struggling with this because I guess it's a little research for me. Whether we could adopt. I mean, there has to be something in the bylaw about it. We can't just
Yeah,
do something.
yes, I agree with that.
But whether it could be that it gives a framework and then says. But there will be specific policies that are not part of the bylaw. I don't know. Just because it's so hard to,
Yeah.
keep up with-
yeah, I mean, there
Technology.
is, it's hard to keep up with the technology, and the other thing is that in planning. They do talk sometimes about, now they're usually talking about striping of roads and things like that. They'll say, just tell everybody, we're gonna try it for 6 months. If you don't like it, we'll go back,
How about if you say
Yeah.
something like a minimum of X number of seconds, 10,
Yeah.
12, whatever it might be. Unless you have a waiver from the police department saying that it's safe for this use or something.
Yeah.
Well, we'll have to think about that because.
Yeah.
It's so much of a bother to go through the full adoption process, and then if we just know we're gonna have to keep tweaking it. But
Well,
anyway, I see
mhm.
Steve's hand floating up again.
Yeah, yes, may I blow chunks again, Preston? So,
Go ahead.
this is nothing new. I've been in the trades now for decades. For instance, Ludlow, I'll give you an example. Ludlow has outlawed neon. You're not gonna see any neon signs, So who is what you're trying to do really impeding? Who is it, quite frankly, pissing off? I lit up a facility in Springfield and the state inspector said, and he said right to my face, you're gonna really piss off Stellafane. And I did. Apparently the Stellafane does not like the sky lit up, you know. So think down that avenue here. You know, who are we hurting?
So I guess, Steve, I'll just say, obviously, whenever we have a public session that's recorded, it's kind of painful to mention specific names. I did this is back when I was the zoning administrator, Hugh is now, the Sunoco wanted to upgrade their sign. And they had a sign that had plastic letters that they used to, use the stick with the suction cup to change the letters, and they now have a sign that has LED letters. It's exactly the same letters, exactly the same sign, exactly the same location on exactly the same post. So I said, it's a grandfathered use and you're just simply replacing the existing sign. I don't think the sign looks too bad, but there were a few people who said, this is letting the camel's nose into the tent, this is, or it's not fair to Jiffy Mart if they didn't get it. But in any case, there it is. So there are at least, I guess, getting to you, Steve, there are at least some people who feel pretty strongly that we should have a wall here in Chester and not.
Well,
allow it.
and I understand that very well, Preston, being in the trades, but you're captivating yourself to LED. Someone could recreate whatever you're trying to regulate under something that is non-LED.
Well, there's still bylaws for signs that you have to meet, and you still have to get permits for them, don't you?
Well, yeah, and I think I mean, the other thing is this will probably be written so that it's not LED specific. It'll be, EMD. So it's electronic message display or something that maybe has a little more durability. So if LEDs are not the thing in 5 years and there's some other technology, it will still cover that. So that's
You
what
need to go there, Hugh. You need to.
yeah.
It's also, they can't be turned on, Steve, between 11 PM and 6 in the morning. They have to be off. So
That's what it says now.
that's right,
Yeah, and it's EMD now as well.
right.
Yeah.
Oh, fine. Call me. I'll sell you a photo cell.
Yeah, once again, I mean, we're trying to anticipate technology and there is
Yeah.
things other than just LEDs. That's
So,
why it's a
yeah, I
big-
assume EMD is gonna incorporate the neon signs too? We already have some down there, by the way.
Yeah. There's actually nothing in our
Yeah, I don't think
bylaw
we're-
says you can't have neon. It just says you
Right.
can't have flashing and distracting and I don't know, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, does
don't-
neon isn't backlit, is it? It wouldn't.
No,
So,
It's self-lit, right?
yeah, self-lit. So I don't even know how our bylaws think about neon signs. They may not address neon signs, actually. I mean, it's funny, in the bylaws, I feel like
Anybody complain?
the section of the bylaws
yet.
about signs
Complaining, let's not.
is among the longest.
I'm just saying, eventually somebody's
We
going.
got a lot of sign rules
A few people have joked that our bylaws is sign rule with a few other.
with a few other things.
The odds of that get bigger
It feels
every
that
day
way.
too.
Yeah,
Actually, some towns, this is another thought, some towns take sign regulations right out of their zoning bylaw and make it a select board
Ordinance,
which
yeah.
is an easier document. to
Yeah.
amend. But I don't know if I'm saying I want to do that.
I think you're better off locking things down because select boards change.
You people are well thought. You can think about this. You can figure it out.
Thank you, Steve. I do think we can figure it out. It's just whenever you're
Yeah.
testing something new.
Right.
Yep.
Number one, you have to be careful, and number two, you just don't want to get into a position where you haven't thought it out and then you get pushback.
Yeah.
And certainly you don't want to have someone put up a sign and everyone's saying, that was a mistake, right? We don't like it.
Bottom line, these are our kids. Doesn't hurt for the community to know what's
Right.
going on at that.
Right, well, that's where I'm willing to entertain this. It's
Yeah.
just, I do think that there are a lot of schools in the state that advertise for things this way.
Okay, so we've got some takeaways. So this will just come back onto the agenda at some point in the future when we have the next round of updates. So I'll ask one more time. Does anybody have any more comments or questions about this agenda item topic? Okay, with that said, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Jeff made the motion, Scott seconded, all in favor of adjourning? Aye.
Hi.
All opposed? Okay, very good. Thank